Hello, this is Darcy Bowman, and this is EDL 955, Transparency, Delivering Bad News via Effective Two-Way Communication. USD 383, the district that I work for, has a communication plan to engage parents. We have implemented what is called Parent Square fully in August of 2023. It connects teachers and parents by simplifying the communication process through one app. We were having issues with a family may have an elementary student and maybe a high school student, and it was left up to each individual school to determine what app they were going to use to communicate with parents. Previously, we used ClassTag. Those parents were complaining that, if Marlat uses ClassTag and the high school uses another one, they'd have to have multiple apps, and so we decided to streamline this process by the entire district using one app, and it has worked really, really well. Obviously, our district has videos of how to use it on the district website. So when a parent comes in and enrolls their student, it creates a Parent Square account that is tied to their email, and it can also be tied to their cell phone. So very cool. It is very well received. Other communication in USD 383, we have policies for inclement guidelines and procedures. We use Parent Square websites, news outlets. The guidelines are all in multiple languages. We do implement social media, Facebook and Instagram, not so much Twitter. That seems to be more of a political playground right now, and so we stay off of that. E-notifications can go to the email of parents. We have a parent portal along with video instructions on the district website. On the district website, you can find the student resource page, the employee resource page. There's also a video footage request form if a parent wants to see video footage at each of the schools. And then we have student academic and non-academic surveys that are on our website also. And this is in line with the article by Cooper. We do have very strong board policies on communication. Michelle Jones is our director of communications. The board has said that broadcasting and taping is the discretion of the rules and regulations by the superintendent. News releases are to come from principals of events and programs, but if something significant happens, it has to go to Michelle Jones. She will release the news. District news releases, that's the superintendent. Conferences and interviews, if it's of a student, it needs to be approved by the principal and the guardian. So these rules follow data privacy, FERPA regulations, copyright rules, and of course, at any time, if our board deems one of the social media sites in particular to be not in compliance, it can be modified or terminated at any time. So addressing a specific concern, the concern that I brought up before is redistricting. It's created an inequity in enrollment in buildings, specifically mine and another one, Lee. We are the same physical size, but our school's current enrollment is 431 and they have 315. If you take a look, I got this off of the board minutes in January. If you look back to 2020, Lee had 523 kids. After redistricting, they have 311. We had 438, and after redistricting, we're pretty much in the same boat for the most part. So we have the same amount of kids while Lee has significantly reduced the number of kids that they have. So specifically, if we dive a little bit deeper, my first grade teachers at Marlat are upset over the unequal class sizes and student ratio. So at Marlat, we are currently at, I believe, 22 to 1. If we look back, and you can see here it's 22 to 1. And then Lee is 18 to 1. Another school in our district is 12 to 1. That's Northview, and Ogden is 13 to 1. So teachers at my school are upset over the discrepancy in pay that this creates when they're expected to teach the same curriculum with the same expectations to double the class size. Honestly, after doing this research, I can say that I've opened my eyes. I've had my eyes open to just how big this issue probably is. It's been brought to our attention, but this really has the data to back it up. So how would I address this situation? In order to start an implementation, it would be necessary to first get feedback from the teachers and collect the data. So teachers need to feel comfortable in coming to us. Our school has a monthly meeting where teachers have an open forum to submit anonymous emails to one facilitator that is voted on in August each year. These issues are brought to Sheila and I anonymously along with a panel of teachers, but everybody's welcome to participate and give feedback. Teachers can advocate for their needs, teachers and employees. Honestly, class sizes has been brought to our attention. Communication, step 2, communication of the enrollment and class sizes and ratios to site council to obtain feedback would probably be my next thing that I would do. Agenda minutes of the site council are shared with site council members via email and Parent Square. The data that I showed you on slide 5 was presented to our Board of Education at a January meeting, and it's shared. You can easily find any of this on our district website. So how would I address this situation? Step 3, I'm going to enlist the teachers and parents via Parent Square, survey, email, word of mouth to brainstorm possible solutions. Me personally, I would also notify the superintendent and assistant superintendent that these were issues that are being discussed in case teachers or parents go directly to them. Our district is very good at referring issues back to the head principal at a school, telling patrons to contact that person first, which is appreciated. So I would do the same for them. So this would be over the course of a few site meetings, but I would try to get information on student achievement, social emotional well-being, staff morale, busing issues, and financial constraints. Then I would, step 4, develop a plan to share those findings with the superintendent. That could be either a private meeting or a monthly board meeting, and Marlatt patrons would be the focused audience. And then I would continue, the last step, to have conversations with stakeholders. We do know that policy creation and revision are a continuous process for the board and its administration, and so we need to realize that allocation of funds, we may not be as high on the priority list, but as long as they know it's an issue and we're being heard and we are solutions-based, just keeping that communication open is imperative. So communication with specific populations, that would be teachers using email face-to-face, parents and site council members, quarterly meetings via email and face-to-face, board members, face-to-face at the district office, email and phone, superintendent, same. English speaking, we have that covered with our Parent Square. We do have a Hispanic population of about 10%, and we also have Pashto, which is an Afghanistan language, and so our ESOL department handles that when we need translators via written or via just talking to somebody. They're very good at sending out a translator. I feel as if the teachers and site council would support this issue being brought up. I do feel, for transparency's sake, the superintendent and assistant superintendent should know from the start that this is being discussed as a potential issue. So our non-English speaking population, I don't feel that they'd be excluded in any way. Pashto has been a little bit harder as far as communication because Google Translate has just now recognized it as a needed language, and so that app is not updated for the speaking portion of Google Translate. As far as the glossary of terms, this was kind of hard for me, but I just pulled a couple: communication, channel, company culture, employee loyalty, ESSER funding, FOIA, IEP, non-digital communication, open enrollment, remote learning, school capacity, translation tools, and transparency. So relevant to me personally in my school, we do an above average job of creating relationships with positive interactions. And so that's kind of at the heart of any concern that you would have, is that two-way communication. So we've developed and empowered teachers to have a say through those various committees and monthly meetings and our building leadership team. In that way, teachers are making decisions alongside of us. So that helps. Educators, as far as the glossary, creating that probably be a good idea for us to create a glossary of terms for our interns and for teachers on any topic. Honestly, I feel as if my superpower, and I've told people this before, is the ability to put myself in other people's shoes. And years ago, I had a superintendent that I was having a conversation with, and she said, You need to realize that sometimes people's norms may not be your norms. We were just talking about a family, and, I was young and being reflective, I was probably being judgmental, and she was a great mentor and was just like, you know what? Your norm may not be everybody's norm. People come from different traumas, different backgrounds, those sorts of things. And so that statement has stayed with me throughout the years. And I feel as if that is one that I always go by. Also, if there's an issue, giving that 24-hour rule when appropriate is a great way to process bad news before it's given. And then just coming up in your head with all the possible scenarios for responding. Being open and honest about what you can and can't control, assuring staff they're cared for, considering that audience. But like I said, build the relationships, and that helps 100%. Personal reflection. I do think this module had a lot of good information, especially if the district that you're working for is lacking in this area. I'm blessed. I have great mentors and a phenomenal school district. They've laid the foundation. So if I ever have my own school district, I will refer back to these, definitely. After working with children and adults in education, I feel as if I've naturally learned the art of delivering bad news, empathy and understanding, recognizing that their norm may not be my norm, refraining from judgment. Like I said, adults as well as children come from trauma, and that can affect so many things, from their work performance to health issues to lack of motivation. Know your audience. Relationships are definitely key. And then I have included my reference page, and if you have any questions, please let me know.